For some 15 years, I made a living as a diver. It was during that period that I met a diver for a custom wetsuit on a Friday. On Sunday, I got a phone call. He was dead. This diver was diving with a group of divers on Andros Island on some blue holes and caves. They were diving at a depth between 135 feet and 200 feet. A safe depth for scuba diving on air, but in the nitrogen narcosis zone. This diver got into a confined space, restricted movement, started struggling a little bit. His struggles increased, got more intense, out of control. The divers there couldn't do anything without endangering themselves. He died. So ask yourself, what was his mindset before his demise? What was going through his mind? I have a clue of what may have been going through his mind because I had a near-death experience with nitrogen narcosis. It's documented in this book. The book came out 2010. I just read the book. Okay, the book is about an expedition, how the expedition was put together and financed and why. The expedition was to Wochi, a Japanese-held island during World War II, to Kwajalein, and then Bikini Atoll. Now that the radiation levels had dropped to safe level for human entry. The purpose of the expedition was to gather underwater footage of the wrecks in these locations. That footage was used for a movie that came out. It won an award at the documentary award for that year or something like that. And now it's in a DVD form right here. Okay, the DVD form has been edited down, I believe, and underwater scenes have been removed. There's no monetary gain for me in this DVD or the book, but there are references in the book that are made about me that I want to correct. Okay, I was part of this expedition for 3 reasons. Abilities as an underwater photographer and as an experienced diver, which I'll get into so you understand where I'm coming from when I tell you about my nitrogen narcosis experience. The second reason, I had the lighting systems and equipment and cameras they needed for this expedition. Third, I did it for a love of diving and adventure. To go to over halfway around the world to dive a wreck on Wochi that was sunk in World War II by the U.S. Navy, to be the first to dive this wreck, and to go to Bikini, be the first to dive Bikini Atoll, the first to see these wrecks at Bikini Atoll, the first to film them. There's been expeditions since then. You might say we opened the gateway for them to enter, to get it to start there, for other expeditions to get underway. Okay, my experience as a diver started when I was probably 13 years old. It was hot in the summer, no Xbox. We'd go down and see how far we could swim underwater at the pool. One day I was going for the record. I woke up. I was looking up at a crowd of people, and I had a half a gallon, maybe more water in me. Getting that water out was an experience that I won't forget. Okay? Anyway, when I got it out and could talk, I asked what happened. They said, you were swimming along, you rolled over, bubbles came out of your mouth, you blacked out. Okay. The next question I asked, did I touch the wall? Yeah, you touched the wall. That was near 80 yards underwater for a 13-year-old. Anyway, that's how you become a scuba diver or a free diver later on in life. You got to go till you black out so you know what your limits are. Okay, end of story. My next experience as being a scuba diver was I went to Jordan Klein's dive shop on Miami Biscayne Boulevard. And I went in there, I bought 2 scuba tanks and a aqualung regulator. Comes around here, a real old one. This is 1958. And then when I was buying that regulator, I asked the shop guy what I needed to know about this to go out diving. Oh, kid, just don't hold your breath coming up. Oh, I don't know about that. Okay, fine. I went out 2 days later, 50, 60, 70 foot of water. Burnt 2 tanks. Came up, didn't hold my breath. Now I'm here. Okay. Now, later on, for diving, we were anchored out at 100 foot of water off Cape, Florida. There. Jive charter boat, dive boat, McGee's dive boat. Okay. There's where I met this guy, Vern Thompson. Vern Thompson was Diver of the Year in 64. Vern and me did mixed gas diving, real mixed gas diving. We won some spearfishing tournaments together. He was a crazy diver, But what would you expect from a guy who went through World War II in a submarine, okay? So anyway, we jump in the water and we go down 100, 110 foot. We see a big grouper, maybe 80, 90 pounds. Chase it to 140 spirit. Just come back up to the boat. We didn't decompress. You got a bleeding fish. We don't let sharks come around. Got on the boat, threw another tank on. We didn't sit around and look at our computer and our dive meter and go, well, we've got 1 hour and 10 minutes before we make another dive. No. We just threw a tank on. The theory then was you're not going to get the bends burning one tank of air, okay? Went back down. We burned 3 tanks like that, okay? 1, 2, 3. 10, 15 minutes between them. That was it. That's the way we dove. Then later on in this book, there's a fellow, Rick Frazee. There's a picture of him and me in this book. He was a pretty noted underwater photographer and I taught scuba. Rick isn't here anymore. Hung himself from an orange tree. So I don't know why. Then there was Jacques Mayol, father of breath-hold diving. They made a movie about him. Did all kinds of diving. In fact, me and him did a lot of diving. Now I find out he hung himself too. Said he was bored with life. Well, then why didn't he just keep diving, Jacques? I don't know. Okay, so anyway, Rick goes up to me one day and he hands me this card, okay? Oh, what's this, Rick? Now I'm a certified scuba diver. That's how you get certified back then. Someone hands you a card. I look on the back of it. It says, I swam 300 yards without stopping. I'll tell you something. If you can't swim a half a mile to a mile without stopping, you got no business diving, okay? You go out scuba diving, free diving, anything, you're going to get in trouble, you're going to get killed. Plain and simple. That's what happens every day. And that's the main reason. They can't swim. Anyway, when I got this, what do you give me this for, Rick? And he said, you'll need it a few years later. You'll need it to go diving, to go to buy gear or whatever. Well, he was right. I had to use it to get my nitrox certification. It says, just dive. So I'm certified nitrox. Pretty interesting course. The oxygen poisoning part and mixed gas of nitrogen and so forth and oxygen. Okay, but the rest of the course is baloney. Everything they're talking about, you don't do this, you don't do that, you don't do this. I've done it. Okay, you can't stay down 50 feet for 59 minutes or something like that. I go out here for the last 5 years. I spend 2 or 3 hours at 50, 60 foot. Oh, in the old days, we did a lot of diving. Hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 80, 90 foot of water. We never decompressed and stuff. Jacques Mayol, he told me he used to abalone dive, and he said he'd dive between 40, 50, 60 foot, 70 foot, sometimes 90 foot. He never decompressed. Today's diving, they got to do all this certification nowadays because a lot of these divers, if they get in a bathtub, they could drown. Okay, so they got to have all this certification. So then later on, I get another certification deal. In this caves in Andros, they were diving. They found some stalactites, stalagmites, or something like that. They wanted some documentation of it. And I have a 1,000-watt light and battery pack. If they fly me over there, I'm sitting in the boat with my light getting ready to go diving. This guy, Tom out, looks at me and goes, you ever do a cave dive? No, I never lost anything in a cave. Why would I do any cave dive? Oh, well, we got to get you cave diving certified. Okay, the course took 5 minutes. Then we went back in the cave, down 135, 140, 150 feet. I don't know what it was. Back 300 or 400 feet in the cave and back out. No big deal. No big deal. The simplest thing there is in the world is cave diving. But people die at it all the time. Why? I don't know. I mean, some of the divers you got today, if you flush the toilet and they look in there, they'll get seasick. Okay, so we don't know. There's no. Anyway, that's the way I got certified. Okay, now with this card here, I walk out here to one of these dive charters up and down the coast and walk up and say, here's my card. I want to go out and drop down to 200 feet and swim around for 4 or 5 minutes or whatever time I got and see if I can see something no one's seen. Oh my God, that's tech diving. You've got to go to special school for at least 6 months to a year. Well, I go to the Philippines. Here's my card. I go out there, 135, 143 U.S. World War II tanks sitting down there, Sherman tanks or something like that. Then I go to Palawan. I do a dive there at 100 feet. Oh, that was a pretty good dive there. Really, the Philippines has a lot of exotic stuff to see. And then I say, well, wait, we're going to do tomorrow the dive match. I say, all right, wait, you got something deeper? Yeah, I got a spot out here at 186, 190. Bang, go out there, check that out the next day on a dive. Then I go down to Legazpi and Donso. There's a seamound there at 210. We go down there, take a look at it, come back up. You know, I like seeing things I've never seen before, okay? Okay, so then, this last trip. Okay, a month ago I was in the Philippines. I went to Negros Island, caught a pong boat over to Slipway Island, went to Whispering Palms Dive Resort. Fantastic place for diving. It's not exactly a 5-star hotel, but the diving there is fantastic, okay? Fantastic. And economically fantastic. That's what's really most fantastic, is the money. What you get for your money in the Philippines when you go diving, okay? So, anyway, I did 7 days of diving there, and night diving. I mean real night diving, not like out here where you watch the sun go down. I go out night diving 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. That's when you go out night diving, when everything's out. Okay, end of the story. So, the 4th day we're going diving. We're walking down the pier out to the ponga boat. The dive master asked me, "Do you log your dives?" Do I log my dives? What the hell is this about now, logging your dives? How am I going to keep track of my bog? Get a dictionary that thick? Give me a break. Log your dives. That's diving today. Anyway, we go out there and we drop down 145, 160, going up and down this here wall about 300, 400 feet long. I see this gigantic sea fan as big as a truck. So, I mean, I got to get back into filming, and the equipment I had here for this expedition took me almost a year. I had to design it, engineer it, build it, test it in my chamber. I don't want to do that again. So I go on Amazon. No. Then a UPS truck pulls up. Bang! I got my Intobia Connects camera. Why do I got an Intobia Connects camera? It goes 300 feet. The GoPro only goes 130. I don't want something imploding in my head. Okay? Then I got my Go mask here. And I got this guy here I made myself. Because a lot of people say you can't tighten up things. This is a high volume mask. It's going to work out really good. The high volume masks are the ones that you can swim for dive for 3 or 4 hours and they won't fog up on you like the close volume masks are. Okay, so now let's get to this book. It says here 5-time in the book, 5-time national spearfishing champion. Now, I won the nationals 1 year spearing a lot of big barracuda. Okay, I carried the team. We won the next year as a team. Then I get I got a picture of a barracuda here. Okay, then I get a call to go down to Bonaire in the Dutch Antilles for the International Spearfishing Tournament. Okay, I go down there with a guy named Don Delmonico, pretty well known diver as far as spearfishing and so forth for his time. Anyway, then also a diver named Curtis Tanberg. Curtis Tanberg is a fantastic little diver. I mean, I remember fighting a big grouper or fish in a coral head at about 85, 95 feet down there, and it needed some help. And I look up, and here comes Curtis at 60, 70 feet down to help. Okay, and so at that tournament, something very unusual happened. We're swimming along, and we look down, and there's the Cuban spearfishing champion looking in a cave. Man, can that guy hold his breath? Okay, take a breath of air down 60 feet. We get down there, this guy Delmonico grabs an arm and signals me, grab an arm. Okay, whatever you say, you want to do this, we'll do it. Okay, up we go with him. That's a long dive up with a dead body full of water. And we wouldn't have made it if Curtis hadn't come down and helped us, okay? So we put him on the emergency boat, that's it. But now understand this. We're international spearfishing champions, okay? But we're rescue divers. That's how you do a real rescue. You go down, free dive down and rescue someone. Maybe it's a body, but still a rescue, okay? The rescue divers today, like I just read about up there in the Great Lakes. He embolized. How's a trained rescue diver go out to find a body or do a search, and he embolizes? What they need to do with the rescue divers today is put them through life-saving course like we had in the 50s. The instructor got out there in the pool or someone else, you swam out to the deep end, and he tried to drown you. He kept trying to drown you and drown you and drown you. If he didn't succeed in drowning you, then you became a lifeguard, okay? But nowadays, if they did that with rescue divers, they'd all be drowned. No more rescue divers. Okay, end of it. Okay. So now we win that tournament. We get free tickets to Aruba. Next year in Aruba, we got 3rd place, but we couldn't find no fish for diving 130 feet. You know, spearing fish down there, that's different from holding your breath and swimming down there. When you're down there fighting a fish out of a hole or spearing it, it's a whole different ball game. Anyway, the BBC photographer shows up, films it, and documents it, okay? So that's a free diving and spearfishing. Okay, now we get into this book. A 3rd diver was suggested by me and Rick. No, Rick isn't here anymore, okay? And I had nothing to do with it. I didn't like the guy. I might have said a kind word at the start of the trip about him to keep the thing on the expedition going, but the fact is the guy was a blibbit. He almost got me killed. I didn't like him. Okay, and good reason not to like someone. Okay, there was a guy, Dick Weiner, or something like that. I don't think they mentioned him in the book here because he was a jagoff. He almost screwed up the whole expedition. Won't get into it. Okay, now, get to the part here, the nitrogen narcosis. It says here, I am overcome by nitrogen narcosis and allowed the power cables to fall on me. Well, you think about that when I tell you what's going on here. I got a ship's generator putting out 220 DC power to about 400 to 500 foot of an extension cord, that's say power cables that are feeding electricity down to my 3,000 watts of light to my camera, okay, with these support divers from along supporting it, okay. So I get ready to dive, jump in the water, blow my buoyancy, comes there straight to the bottom fast. You go down there fast, okay. You don't sit there and spend all day clearing. Hit the bottom, fins first, a plume of dust and stuff coming up all around me. You know, now I find out that stuff's all radioactive even now. Okay, so I'm still here. Okay, so the next thing I do is I got to take my regulator out of my mouth, blow air in my buoyancy compensator, and get me some buoyancy so I can start filming. And then I look up, and there's Rick and them. They're over here by a 14-inch cannon going to a turret. The ship's upside down near Arkansas. And they look like they're in slow motion. That tells me, oh, I'm being knocked out a little bit right now, 180, 190 feet, okay. So I'm straining with my camera and all, and I got to control the f-stops, the light meter, and the framing. I got all this to think about while I'm not real smart up here. Anyway, but where's this guy back then? Where was this guy, huh? Oh, man, I had a big camera, lights, a battery pack, all kinds of stuff. Okay, so I'm going along filming, looking for something unusual to film, because the third dive I need something, a big fish or a sponge or something unusual. Anyway, all of a sudden a power cable falls across my shoulder here. Well, I flipped that off. Next thing, there's like 200 feet of this power cable coming down all over, raining down on me. You know, I'm sitting there getting this stuff off of me, man. I mean, it's heavy. I'm untangling myself and everything like that. And then finally I get untangled and the last two loops come down. Loop-de-loop. Now I got 2 loops of cable around my neck. How the hell did that happen so perfect? I don't know. It's like, okay. So now I got to get that past my regulator, past my mask, and off my head and hope it ain't tied up behind here. Anyway, if I knock my mask off, that was curtains, end of it, okay? So now I'm free of that stuff. I grab my camera, then it hits me. The whirlpool. Whoa. I'm looking into a whirlpool. Everything's going around like mad. Man, I shut my eyes and I don't know what happened. Something tells me, hey, you're in serious trouble now. You're in real bad space. I mean, you're in a place really bad. Okay, you got to do something. Maybe it was Darwin cutting in or something like that, saying, you got to get up. You got to get up. Okay, so, you know, I can't swim because of the whirlpool scene. I shut my eyes. With my eyes shut, I start kicking. With my eyes shut, I don't know whether I'm going left, right, backwards, or forward. My mind's saying, please be going up. But something tells me, you haven't hit the bottom yet, so you got to be going somewhere. But I hope I'm not staying in the zone of nitrogen narcosis, man. I'm kicking, and it's getting harder to kick. I mean, it's getting really, I'm getting kicking. And it's getting harder and harder from 190 to about, 110, I guess. Because about, sooner or later, I'm kicking really hard. I think the whirlpool's sucking me in. But, man, I just keep kicking. All of a sudden, my mind clears up. I look around, it's clear as everything right here. I look down, there's the power cable going all the way down into the blue. That's when I was pulling up. Now I got to make a decision. I got to make a decision fast because I only got 20 minutes bottom time for filming. I'm going back down there and get me some footage. I head back down there and there the divers are going up. Okay, so I want to get every bit of footage for the 20 minutes down there. Complete the mission. Anyway, the divers we head up, do our decompression and everything. I look out of the water, I look up at the ship, and there's this blivet diver. And the support divers. What are you guys doing up there? You dropped the cables on me. And they said, a shark came by. What was a 2-foot shark, they said. It was actually a big remora came by the blivet diver. He was the closest to the ship all the time, scared to death to go too far out. Anyway, so he starts swimming to the ship like a madman, screaming, shark, shark. The people in the ship start screaming, shark, shark, shark. To the support divers, they start swimming for the ship. They all drop the cables on me. But they don't want to say it in the book here. they want to be politically correct. They don't want to say the blivet diver almost killed me when I was down there and almost caused me to get narcosis and really bad and almost didn't make it. Okay, so anyway, now how I made it, what I saw, where this diver was faced with the same problem in a whirlpool. I think, thinking about it, it might have been that he just didn't have the experiences that I had diving leading up to this expedition, doing mixed gas with Vern Thompson and stuff like that. And experience, you never know what's going to hit you diving. And everything's okay, but it's the unknown, the surprise that'll hit you. And that's where you got to handle it. If you don't handle it, that's it. Curtains over, end of game. You know, so if that might have been what the problem was. He might have seen the same whirlpool spinning around, and he just couldn't get a hold of himself to calm down or whatever it was. So that's what might have happened. Anyway, I'm going to go. Oh, in the book here, there's 2 more parts in here. A 14, 16-foot giant tiger shark comes by. When one of these babies comes by, shows up, and you got 45 minutes of decompression left, what do? I'll tell you what you do when you're down here with 4 other guinea pigs, okay? But that doesn't describe it in the book here, okay? Plus, there's a part in here about the wave. A giant wave almost kills me. It's partly true what they said here, but they don't have the real guy who was in the boat when it got taken over by a giant wave. And there's one other part that's incorrect here that really aggravates me. I'm not going to bore you any further. I'm going to go to Troy Springs. Troy Springs, I go there, I'm going to try my gear out. Troy Springs, if I go there on a Saturday or Sunday, they're teaching free diving. Free diving. Oh man, like this guy Vern Thompson, Jacques Mayall, some of these divers back then, if they knew what they were doing now, they'd roll over in their grave. If they knew what was happening, Gustav Valley, Jim Chris, a lot of these divers in the past, the really good divers, they'd roll over in a grave if they knew that. Anyway, I'm going diving.